Oh man, 1-0 Inter or 0-1 to Inter away to Sparta Praha. Man, that was a painful watch. And I guess it's a summary of Inter's Champions League campaign. Once again, get a 1-0 victory in the Champions League. Is that 5 1-0 victories in this Champions League campaign? That is crazy. We've been Allegriing our way through this Champions League campaign. The only game that we stat padded in a little bit was the Red Star Belgrade one. I thought today, I forgot to give my prediction in my preview. I thought it was going to be, 2-0, 3-0. It was only 1-0 thanks to El Toro, Lautaro Martinez. I had to watch today's game with a Spanish stream, ESPN en vivo. And, kept referring to Lautaro. Lautaro, el adelante del Intercampeón del Mundo. And he stepped up for us today. No stat padding, really. Got his second goal of the Champions League campaign, but it was a very crucial one that got us 3 points. Again, it would have been nice to see a nice performance. It would have been good to stat pad, especially for the Champions League format where you need some goals difference. But the 3 points takes us almost to the promised land. We are now fourth with 7 games played. And according to all the projections and calculations, as you can see here from Football Meets data, this was before Inter's game today. So we were 85% likely to finish in the top 8 before today's match. So imagine tomorrow when they update this with Inter 16 points, I imagine we will be 90+%, because it means even if Inter don't win in the last game against Monaco, worst case scenario, a draw or a loss, but it has to mean that all the other teams behind us have to also win. They also have to get to 16 points and a better goal differential. So minimum is definitely try to get a draw to Monaco to guarantee that, because 16 leaves that half chance that things could slip away from us. Before we get into player performances and ratings, leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Yeah, it wasn't a great game to watch. Has any of our Champions League games really? Of course, we've enjoyed every single one, all the wins, apart from obviously the Leverkusen loss. But have any of the Champions League games been good to watch? No. Would I take this exact Champions League campaign if you gave it to me at the beginning of the season before a ball was kicked? Yes, of course. It depends what happens at the end of it, that we go through the top 8, but definitely. I mean, we already, before today's game, we were already qualified to the next stage in terms of playoffs. So we would have, got a chance. But because of how many games Inter are playing, as we said since the beginning of the season, we just need to avoid that playoff game. There was an extra game. We needed to avoid it, and we did it for now, by the looks of it. Getting into the game, as we said, not a particularly great performance from anyone today. I don't, in terms of man of the match, I'll tell you right now, I'll give it to Lautaro, especially for the goal. I did like his performance in general. He got involved in the play. Probably should have scored more than one goal, to be honest. He had the one goal. I think this is the one that got blocked. He should have scored. Some nice passing. In general, his general play was good. His pressing was really good in the first half. Everyone else was really meh today. Going forward, Sparta didn't really do much. I mean, the embarrassing or the annoying part is this Sparta team, guys, as I mentioned in the preview, but if you haven't watched it, the Sparta team hadn't played competitive football since December. So you could see it out there. Some of the touches were wayward. They gifted us a few opportunities. I mean, already the level is not as high as some other teams. And, we've seen some of the score lines the other teams have had against the Sparta team. And to go away with this very just, putrid performance, really, hardly creating anything. And it was shaky at the back as well at some points, It wasn't like a, easy 1-0. There was a few moments where we're like, whoa. And I was feeling at one point that if it's going to remain 1-0, these guys might equalize. The same feeling that we got in the Young Boys game, if you guys remember that one. Thuram came on and saved us towards the end in that one. The midfield was not good, not just Aslani. Aslani was okay. He only misplaced 2 passes, but in general, he kept the ball ticking. But again, you see his usual, mistakes, or he kind of just weaknesses off the ball when he's trying to win the ball back. Didn't give us too much control. Barella and Miki were good in some some real moments of quality from those two, but then some real moments of like, what the hell? With Barella, I'll definitely give him the match off because he has played a lot of football. I think this is his 8th game in a row that he's played as a starter. You know, the ratings don't really say it, but both Miki and Barella had games where good moments and some really, scratching your head, like, really, you, a world class player like you, are doing this. But yeah, Mickey, again, similar to a lot of our players, 15-20 minutes really good and then not that good. Dumfries scored a goal. It looked like it was going to be the 6th goal or something, or 5th goal in his 2025 for Dumfries, but it was called off because of offside. He didn't really get involved as much today. But it was a difficult game for everyone out there. It was cold. It was -7 degrees, but it was an ice cold performance by Inter in terms of it literally was, the players looked like they were freezing out there and they weren't moving, not ice cold in terms of, composure. Yeah, the Thuram as well, he's probably the best embodiment of that. Like, some of his touches, the commentator was saying, la técnica de Thuram es una locura. It's una locura. His technique is crazy. And, in some parts, it's just, he just seems like he's playing with a handbrake on sometimes, Thuram. Like, he could have made way more of his occasions today. There was some moments. I've got a few screenshots. Of course, let's start off with Lautaro's goal. This guy is now our joint all-time Champions League top scorer. Congrats to Lauti reaching Adriano, which kind of shows our Champions League heritage in terms of longevity isn't particularly great. The fact that Adriano's all-time top scorer in the Champions League and Lautaro's now joint top scorer. But this goal, guys, isn't this so trademark from Lautaro? I saw some guys on Twitter replying to me saying it reminds them of his first ever goal for Inter in that friendly against Atletico, and they're right. But the angle is even more narrow on the volley. Like, who even shoots from there? And then who has the ability to even score from there? Hits it into the ground, crossbar and in. And we can say now, like, it's been, this whole 2025, every single game that he's played in 2025, he's looked like the old Lautaro. He's back. And then we did create some chances. I mean, what's their XG today? 0.89. They had 0.35. So not particularly great, but, there were some bigger chances from Inter, like big chance here. Mkhitaryan squares it to Aslani, takes a touch and then completely skies it. Not good at all. And then Barella had an even bigger chance, to be honest, especially with someone Barella's quality on his stronger foot. Bastoni puts in the middle, first time Barella, and completely skies it as well. And then they also had some half chances that, made us scared of the result. Cross in, Pavard a little bit flat-footed. Pavard in general, I mean, it's been Pavard's season, really, hasn't it? He seems a little bit too relaxed when he's playing and almost, arrogant sometimes. Here, like, he just lets this guy shoot. Luckily, it was kind of central and Zoma saved it. And then we had some massive chances in the second half as well. Here, Thuram just unlucky. Di Marco's cross got that slight deflection, which took it away from Thuram. So close. And then here, Frattesi squares it for Lautaro, who maybe could have squared it to Di Marco, or he should have done himself better because the shot just got blocked. Frattesi had a good impact, actually, in today's game. After this, he had a nice distance shot as well. And I think he actually completed all of his passes, if I am correct. Let's have a look. I know we like to clown Frattesi for his passing percentage. Look at that, 9 out of 9 result. Yeah, I mean, not too much impact from the substitutes. They're all decent. And in the end, there was also, Benji, I did criticize him, but then in the end, he did also make a nice slide clearance here. This guy was almost in on goal if he didn't make that clearance. And that was it, really. Pretty awful game. I feel sorry for the Inter fans that flew out there to this cold night in Prague. Apparently, it was -7, the commentator was saying. But yeah, as I said, to me, man of the match, Lautaro. Congrats on reaching Adriano, but We move next up, Lecce away. We got the 3 points that we wanted. Next up in the Champions League is Monaco at home. So minimum, as I said, has to be a draw. And if we can finish off with a win, of course, that would be amazing. Not a convincing Champions League campaign, but again, if you told me at the beginning of the season, I would take this. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. How disappointed are you with this performance? And actually, yeah, I mean, the one thing that I completely forgot to mention is that there was zero rotation. So we expect, this whole Champions League campaign, we rotated. Today, we pretty much, obviously, so apart for some injuries like Hakan's, this is the strongest possible lineup. And it just was just as bad as our fully rotated team. So that says a lot as well about that. But again, 3 points, who cares? Let's move on to Lecce and then Monaco. Leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Ciao ragazzi. Always, Forza Inter, Forza this 1-0 Inter.